Okay, so moving on, we're now on to flowers. Now, first thing you want to do is a nice big statement flower in perhaps the middle of the block, and you can do sort of several. So again, I'm just going to put a line here to get an idea. When you're doing flowers, and this is going to be sort of a camellia or something like that, or a rose, then you start with some pebbles in the middle. You could just start with some scribble, but I like to at least have a bit of style to it, so I put a few pebbles in there in the middle, which even look like a little flower on their own, don't they? Now you have to think teeth, and by that I mean molars. So we're coming out, and I'm going to do a small dip and round. Out again, small dip and round. So it's not a heart shape, it's actually got this dip in it, round. When I come round, I'm not worried about these. I don't want all these petals to actually keep coming up. I want them to cross over. So here, so that one missed. But you can see you can build up this shape, and you get quite a nice simple, almost looks like a wild rose or a camellia or something. The tighter you do it, the more it gets. Now if you wanted to put a second flower in, you could sort of decide that at a point here what you'd start to do is put in a few more pebbles, because this one's going to sit behind. Okay, and now we'll just start with our molars again. So we're going to travel round there. 1, 2, and you'll see this will start to get bigger and bigger behind. 1, 2, 3. A bit more here. And now we've got another flower, and now we could travel around and get another one in as well. So let's bring another one somewhere over here. So get some pebbles in first. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a few here. So here's our molars starting again. Round. And get a really nice effect. Nice sort of building out. Now if you want to add some leaves, the crucial bit to remember is that the leaves are starting from a stem that is way behind, you know. So if you've got your flower here, for example, and this is your flower, your stem is going to be inwards from this point here. So don't start doing a leaf like this, because that leaf wouldn't be attached anywhere obvious then. So here then you decide where you wanted to do these leaves, and if say it's a leaf that belongs to this flower here, if you imagine the centre of it coming out here, this is the only part you're going to see of this leaf, yeah, because the rest of it's going to have gone into the centre. And then you can come out, add some veins to it. So it's sort of quite stylised. You can travel over the top again. This flower here might have 2 leaves coming from it. So again, if you imagine that's coming from there, this is your leaf at the extent. Even that might actually be just a bit too long. Okay, back round again. Let's do a second leaf. So that perhaps that's there, up, through, okay, and we're coming back round again, and maybe we'll put another one somewhere over here. Let's think of one sort of coming about here. So you get quite a nice effect for your flowers. Okay, see it nice and clearly? Other flowers you can do, and you can introduce your hearts and loops to do this. Let's have a go. So we could do some hearts and loops, and using the basis of that and 4 petals, it would look like a wild rose. So here's your loops, 1, and now from the centre you're going to do your molars. 1, 2, 3, so it's like a dog rose. Do a little bit of scribble in the middle, come out again, a loop, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could have some bits like this, another loop, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the idea. So hearts and loops. The other nice one to do is a mitten shape. So here we are looking for a mitten. This is what I mean by a mitten shape. Okay. So here we're coming out with a loop, and then close to this stem you want to start your first mitten, and we want 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're just going to add some sort of detail into the flower, then you can creep out wherever. So thumb, hand, thumb, hand, thumb, hand, thumb, hand, thumb, hand. You can add your colour to it, creep out somewhere. 1, thumb, hand, thumb, hand, thumb, hand, thumb, hand, thumb, hand. Add those little bits to it as well. So mitten flowers. So remember this: thumb, hand, thumb, hand, thumb, hand, thumb, hand, thumb, hand. Of course, at this point I'd be coming round and drawing mittens on your pads, but obviously I can't do that at the moment, so I'm afraid that's it. So other sorts of things you can do for flowers. You've got borders to fill. It's quite nice again to use these sorts of things for borders. So if you imagine here is your border, then just half of this is your border. Okay, so again, using your wobbly lines that you should all be familiar with by now, you could sort of come down and you could create dog rose. 1, here's those molars again, put the lines into it, and just come down again, another flower, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to use the centre of this to help you back down and so on. Use the end of your border to come up with another line, and now start again with another flower. 1, 2. You could do cornerstones with bigger sort of flowers in them if you wanted to. Really sort of up to you, but it's just a nice way of filling a border and actually sort of like, you know, putting some quilting on. Often your borders are plainer fabrics as well, so you get to see the detail. So again, you could actually use a thread as well that like matched with it, and then you could put a third one down again. That depends how big you do it, you know, how big your border is, etc, etc. Made a bit of a mess of that flower, but hey ho. So bringing it down again. So you haven't got to do loads of them. Again, you could start in the middle, all the way down and down. Okay, so this is a second border here. So you could use just a different shaped flower. I mean, so you could come down with your line, you could do daisies. You know, it really is what you want to do. You could fill with hearts and loops. So you could just come down, come in sort of loop, oops, heart, And you could do these quite big, or you could stylise them so that the loops help to fill some of the areas. Ooh, that is there. A bit off. This is some of the flowers. So this is dahlias, and here I've added some leaves, and you'll see additional flowers. And the lower part is where I was explaining that you do need to make sure that you show your leaves as only being part shown. If you put a leaf sticking out in thin air, then it looks like it's coming straight off of the petal, which wouldn't be right. So yeah. Here we've got some mitten flowers, so you can see them formed here. This is your mitten shape, so you're coming up with the thumb and then the hand, and you'll see here I've shown you that you're drawing thumb, hand, thumb, hand, thumb, hand. You're doing 5 times. Lots of people struggle to get 5 in, but it actually does work, so you know, give it a go. Here were some border designs or ideas. So this was one here, just doing long lines down and then using part of the flowers, so the teeth shape, the molars, to actually fill in. And as long as you get them staggered, you can actually fill that in quite nicely on a border. That would be about a 5-inch border there. And then this was here showing you how you could do the same with hearts and loops. I think I went wrong there, so ignore that bit.